promises to the African American community, i.e. Parramore. We're here today to tell the city of Orlando and the Central Florida community that we're not going to allow them to break promises anymore. Very simply, they're deceptive. Very, very deceptive. Anyone who's ever taken an elementary statistic course can make statistics say what you want them to say. The Magic and the City of Orlando have hidden behind the MWBE figures. But you need to know that in 2004, the City of Orlando and the Orlando Magic ratified an agreement called the Blueprint. And the Blueprint talked about the targeted community. Very simply, the targeted community is Parramore. In that document, they made all sorts of promises that they would abide by once this building came under construction. Again, those figures that the Magic have shared, very deceptive. Because when you look at MWBE figures, you will note that all minorities make up MWBE figures. But guess what? All African Americans, which happen to be a part of the target community, make up a small slice. As of January the 31st, more than $226 million of a $500 million project in construction costs had been let. Of that, only 7% went, between 7 and 8% went to the African American community. Guess what? If you look at the blueprint talks about a targeted community where residents would get a fair share of the pie. And what that meant was contracts as well as employment. What you have now is a lot of what I call wildcat in terms of employment. Yeah, they're hiring now. But guess what? The major majority of the money, the big money is gone. The Magic and the City of Orlando have not. And so, yes, you get somebody that's making $19 an hour. That looks good. But when it all boils down, you find that that's pennies compared to the $500 million that is already nearly 50, over 50% has been let. Their word as articulated in the blueprint. They have not kept their word. And that's why we're here. We want to put them to the task. When you extrapolate those African American figures, you come out to a paltry figure. And guess what? It's articulated in the blueprint. That's what we hold them to. They didn't have to sign that if they didn't want it. But guess what? The City of Orlando and the Orlando Magic signed the blueprint that was ratified in City Council. And all we are doing is calling them to hold to their word, which they have not. Now we're talking about pennies when millions of dollars. Remember, the blueprint focused on two areas, contracts and employment. What they're doing now is trying to beef up the employment. But the major contracts, the money, more than $500 million in contracts have been let. On March the 24th, after we had a press conference on the site, right across the street from the site, African American ministers and the NAACP met with the mayor, Mayor Buddy Dyer, and with the president of the Orlando Magic, Mr. Alex Martin. At that time, on March the 24th, we are almost a month over. And I told them exactly what I'm telling you today. And yet, guess what? If you've heard from them, I have not heard from them. And the point is, we tried to reason together. We tried to, because I told them, what you are saying is not true. Look at the blueprint. If you didn't mean what you said, why did you articulate it in City Council? Why was it ratified in City Council? Why did the Orlando Magic give all of their owners to say that it was going to be right? My point is, hold them to the fire. Hold them to the fire. I have been living in this community nearly 20 years now, and I thought, and if you were ever at City Council, when we talked about this, I told them we were going to be watching them. I thought that they were going to do the right thing. As a preacher, I always believe it's the right time to do the right thing. They did not do the right thing.
Where has the city failed specifically in your mind?
Failed, number one, contracts. Number one, contracts. The monies that they sold us a bill of goods, $500 million, $500 million to this date. Maybe this, I'm talking about as of January the 31st. We had $16 million of $480 million. Guess what? Guess where it's located? In Parramore. Parramore is a predominantly African-American community. And they made promises in the blueprint that they were going to target as it relates to contracts, as it relates to mentoring, as it relates to apprenticeships. None of this. The magic has failed down. The city of Orlando has failed down. The mayor has a due diligence responsibility to oversee it. He has not done that. And so that's why we're here.
What do you want done at this point?
Well, guess what? We want to, first of all, they need to admit that they blew it. That's the first one. Secondly, there are some things now.